All right, go.
I'm rocking with Don Kilam.
Let's go. Peace and love, peace and love. Y'all see the mountains in the back? Yeah, gotta love the background. Prosperity is your divine birthright. Prosperity is your divine birthright. Yeah. Gotta see the mountains in the back. Let y'all see it. Y'all ain't gonna be able to see it on the Zoom. I got my camera off. The light is too bright. I don't know why. On my webcam. Well, peace and love, peace and love. I'm gonna go over some great information today. As always, you need to know, it's your boy, Don Kilam, also known as Malik Kilam. As always, prosperity is your divine birthright. I'm not a licensed trained tax expert. Do this for educational, informational purposes only. But peace and love to everybody. Let me know what city you tapped in and tuned in from. Let me know where you at. You already see I'm in Vegas still. We putting in this work. We getting this work in. I'm behind about a month's worth of work. Still trying to maneuver meetings and stuff. So not to me. I had to really cancel a meeting yesterday. Crazy shit. He had money and everything. Had to cancel it because I'm catching up on this work. Because the work is, I say about $10,000 worth of work. Gotta get it done. Gotta get it done. And then I'm off to do, I got a whole week next week filled with meetings and consultations. But we'll be caught up by the end of January. I will be caught up by the end of January, promise you. I'm night and day, ain't got no rest. Just been grinding. But peace and love. I want to go over something with everybody. A lot of people talk about the Black Laws Dictionary. Everybody should look it up. The Black Laws Dictionary, okay? I'm going to go over a different law book. Let me see if I can find the definition of Black Laws Library. I'm going to give you mine. I mean the Black Laws Dictionary. See if I can find the definition for it. Black's Law Dictionary is the most frequently used legal dictionary in the United States. Black Laws Dictionary is the most frequently used legal dictionary in the United States. And you need to understand this. Who created it? His name was Henry Campbell Black. So this is how important your last name is in the game. Everybody should know that. Versace's a name. Gucci's a name. Calvin Klein is a name. Ralph Lauren is a name. Your name is the business. Understand, this is what we're handing down in the legacies. This is how they control you, is through your name. This is how they label you in the system, is through your name. It's attached to your name. Everything's attached to your name. But Black's Law Dictionary is the most frequently used legal dictionary in the United States. Henry Campbell Black, 1860 to 1927, was the author of the first two editions of the dictionary, Black's Laws Dictionary. So the first two editions, and they've made plenty more. But so my definition is this is Black's law. This is what they use on Black people. This is the magic that they use. Spelling and spell casting. This is what they utilized to implement definitions that you did not know. You're sitting here using Daniel Webster's dictionary. Listen who Daniel Webster was. Daniel Webster, another name. He handed down his whole name. Definitions. These are his family definitions. He was a lawyer who represented New Hampshire and Massachusetts in the United States. So he wasn't a lawyer. A family man, a small business owner. Born in 1782 to 1852. He was part of the Whig Party. That makes a lot of sense. The Whig Party was a mid-19th century political party in the United States alongside the Democratic Party. It was one of the two major parties. So before the Republicans, there was the Whig Party. Understand it, overstand it. Daniel Webster. He's used to enslave people in court with his definitions. So they're using Daniel Webster. He's using Black's law. But every family should have their own definitions. Okay? Every royal family has their own definitions. I'm just gonna prove this really quick. Let's look up Choctaw Dictionary. Choctaw is a tribe, Choctaw Nation. The Choctaw Dictionary. A means yes. Abaya, to be along the side of something. Let's just keep going. I'm pick out random words. Abuchi, to practice. Abana, to have, need of, be in need of. See what I'm saying? Every royal family, to stay outside the scopes of these codes and statutes, have their own definitions. Let's go to Cherokee Dictionary. Cherokee English Dictionary. Look, they got their own symbols. I can't even read that. Man. You dig what I'm saying? You dig, but it's real. So look, peace and love. They got a whole translator on here. Currently, we have no translations for peace and love in the dictionary. You feel me? They have their own. So when I'm getting to, the reason why I'm bringing this up, because spelling and spell casting, okay? I need everybody to understand this. Spelling is spell casting. And the next book that I want to bring up to everybody's attention that's used in law, my computer's freezing up right now, so they don't want you to get this information, is called American Jurisprudence. American Jurisprudence, okay? The American Jurisprudence is an encyclopedia of the United States law, published by West, okay? Let's get to who West is. West, also known by its original name, West Publishing, is a business owned by Thomas Reuters that publishes legal, business, and regulatory information in print. So all the definitions, all your knowledge is always getting handed down by private families. So this is what I want everybody to understand. Because if y'all don't understand public sector and private sector, I've been talking about this for years. If you're new to me, you need to study it, okay? Public sector is the part of the economy that the government controls. So anything that's in the public education system, public sector, the part of the economy that's controlled by the government. So anything that's in the public education sector, think about public defender, public housing, public assistance. This is all government. So anything that's in the public is going to be controlled by the government. So your education is controlled when it comes to your public education. But they're not going to teach you law, okay? They're not going to teach you real law. Now, it was originated by Lawyers Cooperative Publishing. But look, the series is now in the second edition, launched in 1962. It's a staple of law libraries, and the current edition is over 140 volumes. So I'm going to be pulling some stuff out from American Jurisprudence, okay? And they don't even really talk about this in law school, okay, at all. So I'm going to drop y'all some game. Make sure y'all are taking notes right about now, because this is where it's starting to get good, okay? So I'm just going through some court documents, and there's some things y'all should know, okay? So 63C from the American Jurisprudence, second edition, subsection 247, public officers and employees, as expressed otherwise. Again, public officers and employees. This is your judges. This is your cops. This is your prosecutors. You follow me? Anybody that's in the public office, okay? And if you're using a state ID, you're a public officer as well, and a public employee. So public officers and employees, as expressed otherwise, the powers delegated to a public officer are held in trust for the people. The public trust. So they're held in trust for the people and are to be exercised in behalf of the government or of all citizens who may need the intervention of the officer. Furthermore, the view has been expressed that all public officers within whatever branch and whatever level of government and whatever be their private vocations are trustees of the people, and accordingly labor under every disability and prohibition imposed by law upon trustees relative to the making of personal financial gain from a discharge of their trust. That is, a public officer occupies a fiduciary relationship to the political entity on whose behalf he or she serves and owes a fiduciary duty to the public. It has been said that the fiduciary responsibilities of a public officer cannot be less than those of a private individual. Furthermore, it has been stated that any enterprise undertaken by the public official who tends to weaken public confidence and undermine the sense of security for individual rights is against public policy. Fraud in its elementary common law sense of deceit, and this is one of the meanings that fraud bears. 483 U.S. 372 in statute. See United States versus Dial. Include the deliberate concealment of material information in a setting of fiduciary obligation. A public official is a fiduciary towards the public, including in the case of a judge, the litigant who appears before him, and if he deliberately conceals material information from them, he is guilty of fraud. McNally versus United States 483 U.S. 350, 1987, Texas Penal Code 1.07. Understand, everything is fraud. When they're concealing this information from you, they're using your name as a trust, that is fraud. And now we got a law that covers that. We got case law that covers that, okay? Now that's going to be Public Officers Employees, 63C American Jurisprudence, 2nd edition, subsection 247. Now, continue. Subsection 9, under the Texas Penal Code. Coercion means a threat, however communicated, to commit an offense, to inflict bodily injury in the future on a person threatening or another, to accuse a person of any offense, to expose a person to hatred, contempt, or ridicule, to harm the credit or business repute of any person, or to take or withhold action as a public servant, to cause a public servant to take or withhold action. That does it. Effective consent includes consent by a legal person authorized to act for the owner. Consent is not effective if induced by force, threat, or fraud. Given by a person that actor knows is not legally authorized to act for the owner. Given by a person who is by reason of youth, mental disease, or defect, or intoxication, is known by the actor as being unable to make reasonable decisions. So yes, there's no effective consent when dealing with the government, and it's based on coercion of a public office by threat, duress, and coercion. We're going to keep going. Government means the state, a county, municipality, or political subdivision of the state, or any branch or agency of the state or county, municipality, or political division. Law means the Constitution or a statute of the state or of the United States, a written opinion of a court of record, a municipal ordinance, an order of a county, commissioner court, or a rule authorized by and lawfully adopted under a statute. Public servant means a person elected, selected, appointed, employed, or otherwise designated as one of the following if he has not yet qualified for office or assumed his duties: an officer, employee, or agent of the government, a juror or grand juror, an arbitrator, referee, or other person who is authorized by law, or private written agreement to hear or determine the cause of controversy, or an attorney at law, or notary public when participating in the performance of a government function, or a candidate for nomination or election to public office, or a person who is performing a governmental function under a claim of right, although he is not legally qualified to do so. Now, oath of office makes public officials foreign. These are things you should know. So, taking an oath of office as a public official, those, when you ask questions, I'm live right now, so when you ask questions, I kick you out. This isn't Google. This isn't the type of chat. You can ask your mama anything. You can ask your dad anything, because this is private knowledge handed down through informed families. So obviously you're here because you come from an informed family, which means you are a servant to the system. All right? So when you hear somebody like me and you're jumping on my live, take notes. It's not the time to fucking ask questions. Now's not the time to ask questions. Time to ask questions when you book a fucking consult. I'm sitting here giving you this game fucking pre bono. So I'm gonna block and ban you out my motherfucking class. Get the fuck out my motherfucking Zooms and my lives and all that shit when you're asking questions. Now's not the fucking time. You understand? Now's the time to get this fucking knowledge in. You understand? Now's the time to fucking take notes. You understand? Because I'm giving this information to you right now. You're here because you're uninformed. This shit is supposed to be handed down by your mom and your daddy. Obviously, love didn't do the trick, or you'd be there. You understand? Obviously, your mom and daddy didn't do their fucking job, or you'd be there. You understand? So now's the time to take notes. They should have taught you how to fucking take notes and pay attention. And quit begging motherfuckers for shit. Quit begging. I'm around a nation of beggars, and it's a goddamn shame. Got me cussing on a goddamn Sunday. It's a shame. So shut the fuck up, take notes, and get the fuck out my life. It's that simple, because I'm a block a menu. I don't give a fuck if you get it or not. Your mama was supposed to fucking teach you this shit. You understand? Obviously, she didn't do her fucking job. You're sitting here fucking begging a motherfucker that help you in life. Ain't nobody gonna come and save you and help you with life. That's what the mentality is. Y'all looking for a fucking savior. Ain't nobody coming from the sky to save your fucking ass. You understand? If God ain't adding to your life, you're praying to the wrong God anyways. If God's not giving you the wisdom to get this shit, you're praying to the wrong God anyways. Because God grants those freely to those who've asked. So get your fucking shit together. You understand? Do I look like a fucking Google search engine? Book a fucking consult. Text private life to 702-200-4900. And guess what? You probably can't even do that. Because you can't afford it. Because you're broke motherfuckers. You understand? This ain't for the weak. If you don't know how to hustle, you ain't gonna know how to understand this paperwork. Straight up. Our ancestors ain't never needed fucking money to get ahead in life. You understand? Our ancestors always thrived and survived. You're talking about, I'm talking to the ancestors, but it ain't led to my bank account yet. Well, my ancestors was always thriving. I'm gonna always be straight. My God gonna always take care of me, because God adds to those. God is here. God multiplies. If you God body, you multiply. God is creativity. Y'all sitting here working for a motherfucker else, somebody else, and scared AI gonna take your job. AI ain't gonna take my job because AI can't process information faster than me. AI ain't gonna hand you the real motherfucking game. Truth never changes. AI is part of the system. It'll never fucking give you the truth. Now back to the regularly scheduled program. Text private life to 702-200-4900. And quit begging, motherfuckers. Ain't nobody coming to help you for free, you stupid motherfuckers. Oath of office makes public officials foreign. Those holding federal or state public office, county, or municipal office under the legislative, executive, or judicial branch, including court officials, judges, prosecutors, law enforcement department employees, officers of the court, and etc., before entering into these public offices, are required by the United States Constitution and statutory law to comply with Title 5 U.S.C. Section 3331, Oath of Office. State officials are also required to meet the same obligation according to the state constitutions and state statutory laws. All oaths of office come under 22 CFR Foreign Relations Section 92.12-9230, and all who hold public office come under Title 8 U.S.C. Section 1481, loss of nationality by native born or naturalized citizens, voluntary action, burden of proof, presumptions. Under Title 22 U.S.C. Foreign Relations and Intercourse, Section 611, a public official is considered a foreign agent. In order to hold public office, the candidate must file a true and complete registration statement with the state's attorney general as a foreign principal. The oath of office requires the public official in his or her foreign state capacity to uphold the constitutional form of government or face consequences. Title 10 U.S.C. Section 333. Interface with state and federal law. The president, by using the militia or the armed forces or both, or by any other means, shall take such measures as he considers necessary to suppress in a state any insurrection, domestic violence, unlawful combination, or conspiracy, if it so hinders the execution of the laws of the state of the United States within the state, that any part or class of its people is deprived of a right, privilege, immunity, or protection named in the Constitution secured by law, and the constituted authorities of that state are unable to fail or refuse to protect that right, privilege, or immunity, or to give that protection, or who opposes or obstructs the executions of the laws of the United States or impedes the course of justice under those laws. In any situation covered by Clause 1, the state shall be considered to have denied the equal protection of the laws secured by the Constitution. So that just breaks down. The oath of office makes public officials foreign. I just proved it to you with the law. Just proved it to you with the law.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Peace and love, it's your boy Don Kilam, and welcome to Dream Keepers Radio, that private life podcast. You're here, tuned in with your boy, and this is brought to you by Follow the Yellow Brick Road by Don Kilam. Search the book on Amazon now. Go get the book and uncover the matrix and how the United States is operating in the financial marketplace. Much peace and love. Now, this is everything you can use in court. This is what you can use in court. To be the case. Label this as exhibits. That means it makes it evidence. Tampering with evidence is the international crime. Now, judges serve as a debt collector. The judge serves as a debt collector. Judges hold office, public office under 28 U.S.C. 176. Judges hold public office under 28 U.S.C. 176, subsection 176, Federal Debt Collection Procedures. Title 28, Chapter 176, Federal Debt Collection Procedures, Section 3002, as used in this chapter. Court means any court created by the Congress of the United States, excluding the United States Tax Court. Yes, that's it. Court means any court created by the Congress of the United States, excluding the United States Tax Court. So, if they can't prove delegation from the Supreme Court, if they can't prove the delegation from Congress, then it's a tax issue. Court means any court created by the Congress of the United States, including the United States Tax Court. Boom. Now, what's next? Debt. That's an amount that's owed to the United States on account of direct loan. It's owed to the United States. Subsection 8, judgment means a judgment, order, or decree entered in favor of the United States in a court arising from a civil or criminal proceeding regarding a debt. Subsection 8. 15, United States means a federal corporation. So acceptance of membership by the United States in the International Monetary Fund states the following. This is 22 U.S.C. subsection 286. The president is hereby authorized to accept membership for the United States in the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, herein referred to as the fund, and in the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, herein referred to as the bank, provided by the Articles of Agreement of the fund and the Articles of Agreement of the bank as set forth in Final Act of the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference dated July 22nd, 1944, and deposited in the Archives of the Department of State. Title 22 U.S.C. Section 286E13. Approval of fund pledged to sell gold to private resources for reserve account of Enhanced Structural Adjustment Facility Trust states the following. The Secretary of the Treasury is authorized to instruct the funds pledged to sell, if needed, up to 3 million ounces of the fund's gold to restore the resources of the reserve account of the Enhanced Structural Adjustment Facility Trust to a level that would be sufficient to meet obligations of the trust payable to the lenders which have made loans to the loan account of the trust that have been used for the purpose of financing programs the fund members previously in arrears to the fund. Now, every court in America was operating under the War Powers Act. I know we talk about maritime. I know we talk about admiralty. Yeah, y'all see the mountains in the back. But the courts are operating under the War Powers Act, okay? The courts are operating under an Emergency War Powers Act. The country has been under a declared state of emergency for the past 70 years, resulting in the Constitution being suspended. See Title 50 U.S.C. Appendix Trading with the Enemy Act of 1917. The courts have been misusing Title 50 U.S.C. subsection 23, Jurisdiction of the United States Courts and Judges, which provides for criminal jurisdiction over an enemy of the state. That's why it says the state versus you is trading with the enemy. Whereas petitioner comes under Title 50 U.S.C. Appendix Application Section 21, claims of naturalized citizens as affected by expatriation, which states the following. The claims of any natural American citizens under provision of this act, sections 1 to 6, 7 to 39, and 41 to 44 of this appendix shall not be denied on the ground of any presumption of expatriation, which has arisen against him under the second sentence of section 2 of the act, entitled An Act in Reference to the Expatriation of Citizens and Protections Abroad. Approved March 2nd, 1907. If he shall give satisfactory evidence to the president or the court as the case may be of his uninterpreted loyalty to the United States during his absence, and that he has returned to the United States, or that he, although desiring to return, has been prevented from so returning by circumstances beyond his control. Expatriation. Whereas the rights of expatriation is a natural and inherent right of all people, indispensable to the enjoyment of the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And whereas in the recognition of this principle, this government has freely received immigrants from all nations and invested them with the rights of citizenship. And whereas it is claimed that such American citizens with the descendants of subjects of foreign states owing allegiance to the governments thereof, and whereas it's necessary to the maintenance of public peace that this claim of foreign allegiance should be properly and finally disavowed. I always do a peace covenant. I do a peace covenant with the state, with anybody that's going down. Like I do something called a peace covenant. And like I brought it up earlier, spelling and spellcasting, language is not clarified. You have to bring this up to the courts. The language are not clarified. We do not understand. And once you start learning who you are, you can take these things to the high court. I'm not going to get deep on the high courts, the higher courts of justice. But the high court confirmed that the term United States can and does mean three completely different things, depending on the context. That's from the high courts. The high courts confirmed that the term United States can and does mean three different things depending on the context. The court and its officers have failed to state which United States they represent, since they can represent only one, and it's under federal debt collection procedures as a corporation, the United States Incorporated, and its satellite corporations have no jurisdiction. An American national and religion claimant hereby asserts the rights of immunity. I'm going through a real court document, all right? A real court document. And then they break down the tables of definitions. You have to have your own definitions. They have the definition for foreign court, foreign jurisdiction, foreign laws, foreign corporation, foreign service of process, foreign states, foreign immunity, profiteering person. In general uses, a human being, though by statute the term may include a firm, labor, organizations, partnerships, associations, corporations, legal representations, and trusts, trustees, and bankruptcy or receivers. Definition of the term person. The term person, as used in this chapter, includes an officer or employee of a corporation. That's Title 26, F75. They have a declaration of status in here. This is very well put together. It's 39 pages. I'm not going to go through it all. Because everything, when I'm dealing with the courts, and they got the table of authorities, lack of judicial immunity as well, with more case law. I'm going to put this in my school if y'all want this. It's in the school. It's going to be in the school. They also bring up the U.S. GPO style manual, the capitalization rules, because a lot of people try to talk stuff. It's in the GSO. It's in the GPO style manual. The government has a style manual on how they have to do your name. So capitalization rules apply from the United States GPO style manual, which capitalization means you're a business or a corporation. And then they also break down nationalities, okay? They break down each state is a nationality. So Missouri is Missourian, Texas is from Texas. Hawaiians are from Hawaii. Yeah, this is very well put together. So that's the GPO style manual. Now, what I'm going to bring up now is directly from my letter of rogatory. I'm gonna read a little bit from it because y'all need to know what's going down. Y'all need to know what's going down for sure. The letter of rogatory breaks down how they securitize. Because this is exactly where I learned securitization. Was from my letter of rogatory. Now, when you're understanding what a letter of rogatory is, a letter of rogatory is a letter to a foreign court.
We'll be back after a quick break.
In a world where borders can limit opportunities, one book dares to challenge the norm and empower foreign nationals like never before. Introducing Can't Touch This: Diplomatic Immunity as a Foreign National by best-selling author Don Kilam. Did you know there is a difference being a citizen and national? This is for foreign nationals seeking to expand their horizons. Do you dream of obtaining a diplomatic passport and the freedom it brings? Don Kilam reveals the secrets to unlocking diplomatic immunity and creating your own nation. Discover why you are already a foreign national, learn the steps to obtain a diplomatic passport, and explore how you can be recognized by numerous nations on your diplomatic journey. Most never knew they could have diplomatic immunity as a foreign national. This book is a game changer for anyone seeking freedom and recognition on the international stage. Get your copy of Can't Touch This today and embark on a journey towards diplomatic immunity and creating your own nation. Order your copy now and unlock the power of diplomatic immunity as a foreign national. Can't Touch This: Diplomatic Immunity as a Foreign National by Don Kilam. Available now at leading bookstores and online. Get your copy today.
A letter of rogatory is a request from a judge in the United States to the judiciary of a foreign country requesting the performance of an act. The most common remedies sought by letters of rogatory are taking of evidence. So when you go to the letter of rogatory, it lets you know, mine does, that this is not an Article 3 court. Article 3 being, it's not created by Congress or the Supreme Court, because this is where the courts are supposed to get their power. But these are all contract courts. That's why when they ask, do you understand? It's a contract. That's why every court has a clerk. Bank. When you look up the word bank, that means court. B-A-N-C. Just look up B-A-N-C, look up the definition of that. And it's going to say the seat on which a judge sits in court. Bank comes from the from Latin. So the letter of rogatory is, I'm letting the court know that I'm opting out of any contract and do not allow any documents regarding me or this trust to be securitized and sold to investors. All cases are civil, although often fraudulently called criminal. The courts are operating under trust law, assuming the defendant respondent is a decedent. Civil leader mortuus, meaning dead in the eyes of the law. And now we've uncovered the scheme. Now we appoint the judge as the honor-bound, duty-bound fiduciary and trustee, and I'm the beneficiary. You're going to be the beneficiary. The name is the beneficiary of all the proceeds. When it goes to court or any other debt, because these are debt collections, the notes are pulled together and they become securities, which are yet to be pulled together and sold as bonds. Bonds is evidence of a debt. Every public officer has a bond as well, and they're looking to bond you, and that makes you a public employee. You're contracting with the government. It's a government contract. Now, the said bonds, what they do with them is they put a lien against you. You're the vehicle. Instead of a car, it's you. You're the actual property now. A defendant in error. Then they're registered with the Department of Defense. They're registered with the Contractor Essentials Registration. They're registered with the Defense Logistics Information Service. which issues the Cage Code, which means a commercial and government entity. Cage. Commercial and government entity. Cage. Commercial and government entity. Cage. Which everything corresponds with their bank account. Said United States Attorney's Office and courts have a DUNS number, Duns and Bradstreet. Now they have a UEI number, unique identifier. Under SAMS, it's considered, or for GSA bonds, the 12-digit UEI number replaces the DUNS number. It's a unique entity identifier. I just want everybody to understand. I really do this shit. The bank account is at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York in New York City. Depository agreement signed by the clerk of courts. All securities are then deposited with the DTC in New York. An escrow agent is used as a go-between between the clerk's office and Federal Reserve Bank of New York. The securities end up being listed through the 7th Circuit, then sent to the DTCC. You got the DTC and then the DTCC. Look them both up. This is the clearinghouse whom lists the securities for trading. Now they're trading on your court case. Now everything you're doing in America is being traded on. All the lawyers involved are acting as private debt collectors according to FDCPA Title 15, subsection 1692. The Bar Association exempts them from having to be registered as such. However, they operate through call warrants, stock bonds, stock warrants. You know what I'm saying? Warrants are stock warrants. And we got call warrants, calls and puts, which are like a put or a call. Margin calls is where they convert a case through similar to a writ of execution. They use the case number to buy equity securities. Everything filed in the court is securitized and turned into negotiable instruments and then turn them into securities. These items are sold commercially, calling them distressed debts through the Unifund. The items are then pulled together in what is now called a hedge fund, where they are sold globally. After 9 months, all paper is converted to a security status. This is defined in 15, subsection 77, AB1, is now considered to be an investment contract. The paper is endorsed to become a security, and the trust is then collapsed. The courts have an account with the IMF, International Monetary Fund, under Interpol, and I just proved it to everybody. The judges involved and the U.S. attorneys involved do not have an accessible oath of office because they cover up the fact that the oath of office is between them and the IMF, which is foreign. Their oath of office makes them foreign agents. The U.S. judges and U.S. attorneys are actually employees of the IMF and have expatriated out of the United States. They are now unregistered foreign agents under Title 22, which states all foreign agents must be registered. The court judgments are deposited with the IMF. Since this case is deposited with the International Monetary Fund, you have a right to the proceeds. See UCC 3-305 and 3-306. The court's judgments are monopolized according to Title 16, which is a violation of antitrust law and also unfair trade practices. Indictments are true bills, meaning they are negotiable instruments. The district attorney fails to give any defendant their tax proceeds, showing them as the recipient of the funds, which is fraud. The unlawful funds, even though they're through fraud and deception, are deposited in the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, and they have not paid the taxes on the income. According to IRSC, this is 7201, Title 26 violation. A copy of the depository resolution agreement is not made available from the clerk of the courts. You need to demand this. A depository resolution agreement. The clerk of the court makes deposits into the Federal Reserve Bank of New York via electronic funds transfer, EFTs. The clerk has a private money investment account. The clerk has a private money investment account, which has a government code. According to Clerk's Praxis, this is another book everybody needs to read. Clerk's Praxis, the clerk of the United States District Court is the registrar in Amarillo. According to IRS 6209, the Code Manual, and the ADP, Automated Data Processing Manual, all 1099s are classified gifts in estate taxes. So you always demand for the taxes in the case because you're not willing to gift your proceeds, and you're asking for the proceeds in their entirety, including interest. It's presumed that by the creation of the birth certificate, that the body and the labor there is pledged to the state through the birth certificate. This is the game. You have to let them know you've never pledged your rights or your body or labor thereof or any creation thereof to any gifting program, including any court or court process. Let them know you are not a charitable organization. You demand all funds from the case, current and past cases, be sent to you, or you file complaints with the IRS and the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission. Explain the fraud and theft. We close out the trust. It's what you do on the court record. Simple as that. The courts are to be your honor-bound, duty-bound fiduciary. And that's fraud of the court. That's game right there. That's game right here. Join the school. I'm going to put both of those documents up in the school, free for everybody in the school. Text Private Life to 702-200-4900. And remember, prosperity is your divine birthright. Much peace and love.
Flavor Flav in the building. Yo, Don Kilam, keep doing your thing, G. Hey, yo, check 1, 2. This is Flavor Flav in the building, you know what I'm saying? Word up. Hey, yo, make sure y'all check out the song bars, you know what I'm saying? Word up by my man Don Kilam. You heard? A Fresco King. Yeah, boy. You know what time it is. Make sure y'all check out the bars by my boy. All right? Flavor Flav in the building. Yo, Don Kilam, keep doing your thing, G.